What up, y'all? It's your host, I2I35, aka Josiah David, and in this video, if any member of Dreamworks, director, writer, producer, or staff, or cast, or any member of Dreamworks is watching this, I want to say a deep thank you. Mostly because of this video. Mostly because of this movie, called The Prince of Egypt. I just want to say a deep thanks to all those who made it. Because it is a very helpful visual aid for those who mock or question the Bible and so on. I can imagine how a lot of people, like before this movie came out, were making fun of the story of Moses, making all these stupid cartoons and making, oh, ha, 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 oh, I just laugh, oh, Moses, how you part the Red Sea, oh, ha, ha, how could they gotten out of Egypt, ha, 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 oh, God is an old man living in the clouds, ha, ha, ha. I'm so thankful that they made this movie so that they can give them a real slice and picture of what the real events were like. For example, when Moses met God in the burning bush, and then he says, "Who are you?" "I am that I am." And that, I could imagine, if I watched this in the theater, I would have had amazing chills going down my back. Because that is the real kind of, what it would be like if you were actually meeting the Lord God. And basically, like, God, His Word already said a long time ago that God is a spirit, and they that worship Him must worship Him in spirit and in truth. God is not an old man living in the clouds. I mean, so this movie would have really been like an answer to all those who would have made all these stupid cartoons and really like brainwashing themselves and just making them think that the Exodus story of Egypt was kind of like a funny little story. It's not a funny little story. It's a historical account, and there's lots of confirmation and evidence for it. Evidence which you folks have basically never been introduced to in a liberal bias classroom of a pro-New World Order school. And that just shows a big example how a lot of generations are being brainwashed and indoctrinated these days, and look at the kind of generation it's giving us. Really a degenerated, backwards, ill-mannered generation, short-sighted generation, which basically they don't really understand what's going on. They like to cling to more entertainment and listening to music and stuff, like not really concentrating on like more important stuff that are happening these days. I'll discuss that in another video, why when I'm of dealing with short-sighted, like simple-minded people, and why studying is more important than entertainment. Well, I do have entertainment, like something like 10% of the time, but 90% of the time I work. But anyway, this movie was amazing. And amazing animation, amazing acting, and amazing cartoon. This happens to be the most expensive cartoon ever made. And I can see why, because the animation used in it, the 3D effects and so on, it was so amazing. And basically, I believe that this actually shows one of the biggest reasons why I support Israel. And I already stated in one of my videos already how history is important, and how a lot of people are never really shown the legitimate history of Israel, how they've had immense persecution over the years, and how they've had to go through travails and so on, but they are still here. God's chosen people, basically, for a long time in the history, basically God's chosen people through which the Messiah would come forth. And this is an amazing movie, and I recommend that a lot of families who still want to preserve family values ought to have this movie. It's a very great movie about justice, about compassion, about deliverance, and about great spiritual lessons and spiritual principles, and basically a lot of legitimate history as well. And so, thank you Dreamworks so much for making this movie. It was great, and I still watch it nowadays. It brings back amazing memories for me, and I think it should really like backlash at people who just kind of like been mocking Bible history, underestimating its history, thinking that they know better and so on. Just foolish, egotistical attitudes. And so thank you so much Dreamworks. I love you. Keep up the good work, and God bless.